I got used to seeing the red lines leaving Kibera, going to town and coming back. Right. So like in a sense, when poverty is around you, you become desensitized to it. But when you're in a different country, you begin to investigate because fundamentally you're trying to establish yourself within a new economy, a new social structure. So you're trying to investigate, okay, why are things the way they are? So when I learned about, when I encountered poverty in India, it was a jarring experience because I saw how poverty contorted the lives of people around me.
Hi, everybody. Happy 2026. This is our second season as Jamhuri Fresh Off the Boat. We are a podcast that captures the stories of Kenyans, how they travel outside, how they engage with the global world, the experiences they have, their career breakthroughs, and how eventually they come back and they begin building a dream in Kenya or wherever in Africa. I love these Kenyans because this, what we call them, the Jamhuri people, they really believe in the African dream. Really, I come from a family that values travel, and this was inspired by my dad's grandfather, who was a long-distance trader. And he traveled from Mukambani all the way to the borders of Kirinyaga with an oxen that had cereal, star, and what else? Something else. And he was selling. And so that inspired my dad. And in the 70s, he traveled to Canada to study finance. And his worldview was opened up. And so when he met my mom, they were just like that. We're going to push the 5 of you kids to kind of understand that there's a world bigger than you. And that really changed the trajectory of how I dream and why I do what I do. And so I have found in my life that I have met brilliant Kenyans who have dared that dream to move outside their village, outside their zip code, outside their hood, to just see what's in the next village, to see what's in the next town, to see what's in the next country. And by doing that, somehow how they value how they view life, that has really changed. So I'm super excited, so excited that I'm having Oscar Koome, who's an investor, and he's also the co-founder of Mantalk. And I'm just trying to say that his bio is long. And so because of that, I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. Oscar, please.
Hi, everyone. Really excited to be on this podcast. I've had a lot of great things and congratulations on your second season.
Thank you.
Yes, my name is Oscar. I run a podcast called mantalk.ke. We've been doing it for 7 years now. So welcome to the game.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty long time.
It is a pretty long time. And outside of that, I work as an investor at Acumen. I'm an investment associate. I invest in agriculture, energy, and education. So that's my JD. The deal structures I do are across East Africa. So
awesome.
That's all I do. And then, yes, you mentioned off camera that I'm a lawyer. I started off as a lawyer.
Right.
But ended up in finance.
Wow.
After a master's in finance in London that we'll talk about shortly.
Absolutely. Okay, so this is the thing. Like, he's been doing podcasting for 7 years. I think I've been doing podcasting for like 3 or 4 months. So, just, bear with me, okay? We are catching on. But it's exciting. I think when Mark passed, you're someone we should really interview. Mm-hmm. I was so thrilled to read your bio and see just the diversity of the fields that you're involved in. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's such a nice way to open up, 2026, yeah. So I just want to touch on this. So what made you travel?
Okay.
Yeah, so because you're Jamhuri, right? You are our Jamhuri for this episode.
Yes, I am the Kenyan. 110%. In fact, I know Mark, and the people behind camera are my friends who I grew up with. I've known Mark since I was 8. That's why that phone call was picked up quickly. And I've known Alex since I was 5.
Okay, so stop there. Mark is the DP. Mark is also the owner of the Creative Sanctuary that we're shooting the podcast on.
Exactly.
So that's who we're talking about.
Yeah, so when the South Sea boys call me, I have to pick up and I have to show up. So it's really exciting to be here. And
so your hood was South B?
South Sea.
South Sea.
I grew up in South Sea.
Awesome.
Spent my first time out of the country. I'd spent 18 years, I think, growing up in Kenya, between South B and South Sea. So in South Sea is where I've spent most of my life. I moved there when I was 6.
Right.
Was there, spent 12 years there. Left the country for the first time when I was think 18 actually. And that first flight was to a part of the world called India.
Oh, wow.
In a place called Delhi. And the assignment was simple. I was there with ISEC. It's a youth movement that allows intersection of different cultures and collaboration at a very early age. So I signed up for a trip to India. Was fortunate enough to get allowed by my parents to actually do that trip, and spent 3 months in Gurgaon in Haryana.
Oh, wow.
Teaching
English. Jaldi.
Yeah. But yeah, teaching English. So I taught English for 3 months in India at 18. That was the first country I stepped into out of Kenya.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yes.
I love India because I think all my 3 siblings did their undergrad in India.
Really?
Yeah, in the 90s. I mean, they were like serious ninjas. And
my granddad did his undergrad in India as well.
Oh, wow, wow. I mean, I know. And they just would come back with such fascinating stories. So as a kid, I would hear them speak and I'd be like, God, I can't wait. I can't wait to get on a plane. So I'm really, proud of your parents to give you that opportunity at 18, because they could have said, just stay here. But the idea that they exposed you to a different world at 18, that must have really changed you.
It was my first true encounter with, I think, poverty is a conceptual thing when you live in it in Kenya. For example, I grew up in Southeast, so I got used to seeing the red lines leaving Kibera, going to town and coming back. Right. So like in a sense, when poverty is around you, you become desensitized to it. But when you're in a different country, you begin to investigate, because fundamentally you're trying to establish yourself within a new economy, a new social structure. So you're trying to investigate, okay, why are things the way they are? So when I encountered poverty in India, it was a jarring experience, because I saw how poverty contorted the lives of people around me. Because I was teaching English with children who are between the less fortunate, who are between the ages of 5 and 10.
Right.
And then at the same time, because and this is going to be I've never said this on a podcast before. So because I was the only black guy in that particular institution, because there was a few Canadians, a few Mexicans, but there was a place where women who had psychological trauma were being treated. It's called a Gurukul. And it was right next to the school. So we used to share duties as ISEC. And I was the only man allowed to go and wash certain parts of that particular women's facility, because the women didn't feel threatened by me.
That's interesting.
Isn't it? Like they didn't feel, they were like...
They didn't think you were man enough or what?
Yeah, no, like they were like, he's African, he's not from here. And then they didn't let the white men come in. But for me, it was like, for some reason, I don't know what it was.
I think, you want me to say?
Tell me.
Well, what I'm thinking is because they have the caste system.
Exactly.
And so you are at the bottom of the bottom.
I am of the bottom of the bottom, to a point that the women are like, let him wash. Let's even tell him our stories. So now I'm there.
So you are worse than a slave.
In their eyes, they were like, they were like, I was less threatening. It wasn't Madarao. I didn't feel like they were throwing me. It was more like
I'm glad you took it like that, because
no, like it's the women in the hospital. So these are like women who have so much psychological trauma. Some women had suffered rape.
Right.
Like they'd really gone through some real sexual and psychological trauma. But when they saw me, I was this young, youthful, 18-year-old, like, hey, hi, like, chubby guy, hello. Like, they were like, let him, like, yeah, he's fine. He's just we just want to be around him. So I got a lot of the stories.
Oh, wow.
And there's one I can tell you.
You want to share it?
I can, 100%. So we're talking about what happened.
No, I mean, and okay, of course, like I said, 7 years of podcasting makes you sit on this chair and have no jitters. While on my side, I'm having 100 jitters,
Not a drop. So, wait, I'll tell you. So there was a lady, one particular lady who we loved. Her name was Kushbu. Loved. I mean, Kushbu was like, she didn't speak much. So she never used to talk. She used to just sing a lot of times. So she'll say, if you sing a song, sing a tune, like sitting in a corner when I come, because I used to serve food. So I go and bring food to her and stuff.
And this was an ISEC program.
This was an ISEC program.
At 18?
At 18, yeah. This was my first year.
I mean, this was hardcore. You were kind of like just thrown in the,
But I'm that way. Growing up in South Sea, you're kind of that way. It's not a big deal.
Well, South Sea is a bit bougie if you're talking about,
no,
it's
not.
It is.
Which South Sea is bougie? It is not bougie.
You cannot say South Sea is like growing up in Kimathi or growing up in,
it's not. But then South Sea in the 90s was very much like, it was a cultural hub, one of the cultural hubs of Kenya.
Yeah,
Ogopa
absolutely,
DJs,
yes.
Kleptomaniacs, Nameless, Isa. There's a hustler mindset you used to get as a kid.
True, that's
right?
true.
So
that's true.
when I was 18, it was like, hey, tunaenda hustle. It was like every day. My first time on a train is in India, for example. So I'm the only black man on a train in India. That also had its own connotations. In fact, if you're talking about culture shock, that's the culture shock, which is everyone's saying, you black American? No black American.
Jaldi.
You want to drink Sprite? Everyone wants to sell you Sprite. You play basketball? The culture shock that happened for me in India was one of like curiosity.
Oh,
then, of course, there were people who'd feel threatened, but
Yes.
it was more curiosity. Anyway, back to Kushbu.
Yeah, back to
It
Kushbu.
was very, very important
Okay.
for the story and kind of what I learned about mental health and how poverty contorts people.
Right.
So Kushbu used to sing every morning and every afternoon. So I bring her food. I don't know what she's singing. So I'm like, what's Kushbu singing? So I keep serving her plates like, hey, how are you? Like cleaning stuff, like folding. And then, because I used to put the beddings on bed. Then I met one of the volunteers was a girl from Delhi IIT called Arushi. So I sit down with Arushi and I ask Arushi, she keeps singing.
What is she? What
the hell is she singing? And then it's like the whole room goes through like a pin drop silence. Because I've asked a question maybe I wasn't supposed to ask. Then Arushi's like, let's go talk outside. So Arushi sits me down and tells me that Kushbu is singing a song about one of the most traumatic experiences of her life.
You're kidding.
Hear me out. So she's singing about the fact that when it's a poem to her friend, right? And her friend grew up with her, so they got married at around the same time. They got kids at the same time. There was excitement around building a family, but all Kushbu was getting is daughters. Right? And so the father really wanted a son. Her husband really wanted a son.
Yeah, the husband.
And then one day, because when she gave birth, like the husband in disgust threw the baby out a window, and Kushbu looked outside and saw the remains of that child and lost her mind. And so her mind is stuck because now she immediately started writing music to calm herself. So
is this where we take a break in the podcast and I
it
boohoo on the side?
It is. So that's why Kushbu was always singing. And for me, as someone who'd grown up in Nairobi, where we don't talk about
trauma
and a lot of these things, I was like, what the hell? Then, same Guru Kubu. Now, on the men's side, there's a judge called Ravi. So Ravi was
He's a judge,
Now, listen.
Wow.
I'll tell you the story. Now, he's an old man, very old man. I'm an 18-year-old, please remember. I'm
I know. I'm
yeah.
I mean, I traveled at 18 and this is gangster stuff,
Yeah, the India trip changed my life. And Alex is here. It completely changed. I grew up with Alex since I was behind the camera. So, now I've had that story. I'm like, that's crazy. It's insane. And then with Ravi, the judge, so the story behind him is he was kicked out by his family.
Right.
This was a very well-to-do Indian man. He was divorced by his wife, kicked out by his family, got into squalor. So the question was he was such an eloquent old man. This is an eloquent old man. Every day talk, you're a lawyer like me. Da-da-da-da-da. We talk about case law. We talk about ideas around law, ideas around constitutionalism, ideas about what the vision of the world should be in a functional society. Please remember, this is a man in abject poverty. This place is to support people in abject poverty.
Right.
And so now he starts telling me the story of his life. And he never tells me about his kids, his wife. He always tells me about how he was as a young man.
Right.
And this story, he'd always get to a point where he'd tell me about this nurse he met that he cheated on his wife with. And he always repeats it. So he's not, I don't know how I could explain it.
He's stuck there.
In that loop.
Right.
Because I don't know where.
Maybe that's how he lost his family, is that?
now, apparently, when he got into dementia, and that's the only story that was coming, he apparently told the story to his wife.
Oh, no.
And his kids.
Oh, no.
And they orchestrated him being like removed from the family wealth. So they probably took away all the work, all the stuff that he got when he was working in his youth, and left him like in abject poverty to a point that society had to pick him up from the streets and put him in this mental health facility.
You're kidding me. I mean, you can't script this stuff.
I'm not. I'm telling you exactly what happened in India. So like I meet these two people, and then the third transformative thing that happened was I was teaching this kid called Nitin English.
Right.
Now Nitin taught me, so what Raj taught me is like the mistakes we make in our life, you might think that there's going to be no repercussions. You might do it in secret, but then we don't know what will happen when you get older.
I actually don't think there's anything that is hidden under the sun. Like I live by that. That it's gonna come out, Jinna, at some point. And so make peace with it.
Exactly.
Or try not to go into it.
Yes, it's like that situation was so, I think, emotionally involving for him that when he got into dementia, it was such an anchor of who he was that it just kept coming out. I
mean, I guess maybe he was being a judge. I guess he had some sense of morality.
Exactly.
And the fact that he tripped, that caused something.
There it is. And he did it when he was young. And now he's like in his 70s and 80s. And he's telling a random Kenyan guy, 18 years of age, about what he was doing.
Wow.
And that's when I realized, that's probably why people don't always tell me, don't talk to him too much. Like I was always being told, like, don't talk to him a little bit, but not too much. I know you like him. And then, so that was the second experience. The third one, because I realized we are on time.
No. I mean, we're really enjoying these stories. We don't mind pushing you to second episode, if you allow us.
That's fair. So the third one was, so there's this little boy I was teaching English called Nitin. He was about yay high. The thing about Nitin is Nitin taught me how to communicate without language. There's such a power within some people. It's like they're born with it. Because Nitin couldn't speak a word of English.
Wow.
He only spoke, like, if it's one word, it's hi, hello, and nothing else.
Right.
But he used everything else he could to communicate.
Wow.
If a child tried to bully Nitin, I'd see the look he gives the child. And I'd be like, that look is one of death. Right. And he's like this small. But then he used to communicate with his body, his eyes, was
he like a Charlie Chaplin type of character?
He was the most adorable child. I think I have a picture somewhere of me carrying him, but unfortunately his face was facing that side. It's on Facebook somewhere. But one day, I'll never forget, so I developed such a bond with him, trying to teach him English, and he would try to teach me Sanskrit. The word is so he says and so like he keeps trying to get me to teach. Like he's trying to teach me the Sanskrit alphabet the way he's been taught.
Right.
I didn't get it, but like he'd really try his best. And there was this time when he felt sick. So he threw up for the first time. You can imagine for a child throwing up for the first time.
Oh, wow. That's scary.
He sprints. So at that time, it was like 9 in the morning. So that was when I was just walking in. He sees me from the gate. The boy comes running, sprinting, jumps on me. I hold him. I smell it. I'm like, hiya, have you thrown up? And he's like, show me. I'm like, show me. So he points, and he shows me. I've thrown up.
Right.
We rushed the kid to hospital. He had a stomach bug. He'd eaten something wrong.
Right.
And like, I remember just that feeling of like urgency when I'm holding him. I'm like, something's wrong. Like, and like, I don't know this child like that.
Right.
Like, in that moment, I'm like, why do I care so much? Like, I was like a dad in that moment. It was like, now, get the ambulance. Where's the ambulance? Let me put him in now. And like the other Indians are like, we'll do it right now, Oscar. We'll do it right now. right now. And I'm just like, I don't care. Like, do it now. Put him in I need him in hospital.
Right.
And like that experience for me was just how we can connect with people. Like whether there's 1,000,001 boundaries. This child is 10.
Right.
Less than 10. It's a baby, nursery school child. But the power with which that child, I don't know what he does now, but I just hope that child the best. I think about him a lot. Nitin from Gurgaon, because I met his mom, and she said she wants to educate him. She thinks he's very smart. There's a lot of potential.
Wow.
But I remember like how transformative that experience of teaching English when I was 18 was. Because before I went there, I was a ruffian boy from South Sea. Like, all I knew was Cushion girls. Like. But then when I you hear that laugh. But then when I came back to to Kenya after that trip. Then went to Rishikesh in the mountains, so the Himalayas for the first time. Listened to So Yogis for the first time.
Wow.
There was a lot of spiritual aspects that I gained, I think, and a lot of awareness that I gained from that 4-month excursion in India. Missed a semester, but hey.
No, I mean, that was a worth semester to me.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating that your experience with India was more on the informal settlements because, of course, we know they are the lovely cities and they are the developed cities.
Yeah.
So that's a very interesting perspective. And I think, I just touch on how you say poverty is poverty everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
It contorts. You can see how their lives, people's lives have been, for example, for
the judge who was such a seasoned judge.
Yes, you see how when he got poor, it twisted his brain and how his family perceived him only because he had wealth. But the day he didn't have it, they kicked him out into the streets.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Right.
And for Khushbu, who'd grown up in a society where they weren't making that much money, you can see how other social values are attributable to this woman's suffering. Where it's like, why is it that the man is not attributing any value to this woman outside of her ability to create children?
And actually, he's the one determining this. These girls who are coming,
You see his ignorance.
Yes.
So look at how poverty has concocted his life to make him such a hateful person.
I know.
And
and that's
to cause
sad.
such pain.
Right.
And,
I mean, and just touching on, that's a whole topic in itself, just the value of the girl child and how in so many societies,
her value is reduced to.
Yeah, her value is so reduced.
Exactly.
And so even when we're doing this work, speaking about empowering the girl child, some people think it's a myth, and I'm like, it's not. No. It's as the more you move out of the cities into the informal settlements, into the rural spaces, you get to see how devalued this girl child is. So I think, they must. I just think a lot more work still needs to be put in that place.
One final story. Then
sure.
I leave India alone. Then we can go somewhere else.
You really want to talk about this?
Yeah, one final story.
Okay, sure.
All right, one final. So I'm walking. So first of all, the new exchange students had come that month. So that week, I'll never forget. So they had come into India, but they didn't know where to go and shop for food, right?
Right.
And a lot of them were young women who are European. So I get back to the apartment and I find, we have new guys, but there's no food in the house. So I'm like, no, don't worry. I'll just go down the road to a pizza. There's a Domino's pizza place.
Right.
I'll get some pizza for the house. Don't know, I was feeling kind. So as I'm walking out...
You are kind, I think.
Debatable.
No, you just say thank you. It's a good compliment.
Thank you. So as I'm walking towards... I leave the gate and then I turn left. The pizza store is right down there. So this is a very visual. I want you to be there with me.
Right.
So I was living in a place called House Cass. No, not House Cass. It was House Cass. It was close to House Cass. So it's like near a shopping center. House Cass is a shopping center. So I was walking towards it.
Right.
And on the left... So on the left, I'll never forget, the Domino's with blue and red lighting is over there. It's hitting the water. There's a little drizzle in there.
Right.
I turn left and I see a woman being attacked. So like 3 men have gone after this lady and they're like restraining her. What are you doing? Da-da-da-da-da. And then there's a bystander there who's as shocked as I am, but he's Indian. And so I ask him, like, what the hell's going on? And he says, that woman wants to cripple her child. She was being caught in the process of wanting to cripple her child because at least cripples can beg for money.
Oh my God.
And for her, she thinks that she's making the child have an opportunity, unlike her who's not crippled, so nobody gives her money when she asks. But a cripple at least can beg for money. Think that through.
I can't. And that's the sad part. It's just, it's sad.
That was India. There you go.
That was that part of India because that's crazy.
There you go. So culture shock.
That's some serious culture shock.
That's poverty to a point of like when poverty is casted, when people in a particular economy believe that they deserve to be poor.
Right. And they are born poor.
Exactly.
And so they stay poor and therefore they cannot fight for other opportunities.
They manufacture behavior that is negative but still works within that ecosystem that they're in. So they're saying, I'd rather maim my child, who will also remain poor, but rather them than me.
Yeah, because quote unquote,
you'll never be rich anyway.
Right?
Yeah. You'll never be rich anyway. So even me educating you, doing all these things is a hopeless endeavor in that person's mind.
Because I was born like this, therefore I stay in this.
So exactly. So if I maim you, at least I've given you an opportunity to be slightly more comfortable than I am in this poverty that we find ourselves in. You understand the logic of this matter?
I mean, I can't understand the logic, but I can empathize on the fact that you're oppressed to that level that it causes you to think that way.
Exactly.
And that's just absolutely tragic.
Institutionalized poverty.
That is actually the word. Yeah. And, it's very interesting you say that because, my husband always tells me something. He tells me, baby, there's nothing noble about poverty. And when people are like, he says, you don't understand poverty. He says, I know it. And he says, there's nothing noble about it. And I think when you're sharing the three stories, you're really capturing that there's nothing noble about this. This is a judge who could still contribute to the society. And he's lost his mind, his self-worth and everything. That's just poverty in itself. And then now you're looking at this woman who's about to maim a well-abled baby, you know what I'm saying? And then there's this other one who her child was killed because she's not a girl because of, again, they're in this poverty mindset, That's just tragic, it's so tragic. Exactly. I just want to spin off, but I think we'll really go off. I was just telling
crazy.
Yeah, last night I was watching a documentary on the mole people in Las Vegas and how on top of this city, there are tunnels because it's a desert. Yeah. And so when it rains, they've created these tunnels that are so deep to drain the water and then get it out of the city. But now what has happened is because of the gap between the rich and the poor.
People are living.
Yes, there are people actually living. So in this I don't know if you've ever been to Las Vegas, but it's very luxurious. Like you're like stuff you've never seen. And then at the bottom of this is like poverty to a level you've not seen.
Yes.
And we're just having this discussion in the morning. I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get how that inequality is so wide and so deep. Like, it's like, why is even this injustice existing?
Do you think capitalism manufactures poverty? Do you think it is a fundamental precept of a capitalist society to work, to have people who are less privileged and have less opportunities?
Well, I think to some extent, yes. But then also, I just think the human mind, it's just the sin in man causes man to make different choices. And I just think whether we're going to try the capitalist markets or the socialist market, at some point, we're still going to have poor people just because of.
But why?
So it's very interesting that you asked me a question about whether the capitalist society is manufacturing poverty. And I'm just curious to know, so what are you?
I have no idea what I am, especially after I went to that India trip. Completely shifted my perspective. But I've liked Zoran Mamdani's democratic socialist angle, which is, look, we believe in democracy and democratic rights, but we also believe in operating government structures to allow access and equal opportunity for everybody, regardless of race, gender, and
social status,
and whatever social status that you have. So the socialist aspect of running that democracy is ensuring that there is access to resources and equal opportunity for all.
Absolutely.
But we're still voting. We still maintain our democratic rights to vote, to
engage,
engage, all these different, to communicate, freedom of speech. All these are democratic rights that we still believe in.
Right.
But I think that the way we've been operating society so far has been generating this group of the less privileged and people who have less opportunity, while the rich, the 1%, get wealthier and wealthier. And at some point, there's going to be a tension that might force us to really rethink a lot of the social concepts.
No, absolutely. I just say we're not too far from the French Revolution, where the
you shall eat cake.
Yes, you shall eat cake. Because it's like the wealthy don't even understand how much the frog is boiling in the water. You know what I'm saying? And in Kenya, that 1% is the political elite,
yes,
who their kids are educated outside, who they own half of the companies and half of everything, and they're not aware how much oppressed the citizens are. So I really, and so when when people are out in the streets saying, hey, we can't get jobs, we can't get this, they think this is crazy.
Yeah, meanwhile, somebody has 800 million in a bank account.
Oh yeah, we know who it is. We're not going to mention it, but I just think it's tragic. But I'm also I'm very optimistic.
Yes.
I'm optimistic about the African dream.
Yes.
I'm optimistic about young Africans and how far they are pushing in terms of understanding their democratic right, understanding government. I mean, of governance. I mean, I think there's more, but I am optimistic that we're just going to have a much better future. That's
I think what's been really, really fun, what's been really interesting to see in my time is that the dream of Kwame Nkrumah, of Patrice Lumumba, God may he rest in peace, the dream of Jomo Kenyatta even.
Really?
Yeah. He's akona adui watatu, ujinga, ufukara na ugonjwa. Sindio? So he's like the dream of all these different African leaders who fought for independence. I'm seeing it. This might be the generation that actually brings it forth because colonial strings are being cut.
Absolutely.
Ideas of African inferiority are fundamentally being disrupted. Even us being able to speak in this way and to have a podcast called Jamhuri is also something that I think Malcolm X would smile at if he saw. And Marcus Garvey and all these different writers.
Did you hear that? Quote that, okay?
Yeah.
So Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, all those people would wake up and say Jamhuri, right?
Exactly.
Spot on.
Jamhuri is fundamentally about independence.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. Freeing the man.
Independence of thought is also a key part, and independence of speech and independence of ideology is something that now I think Africa is stepping into. And platforms like this are exactly why I think we'll get there a little bit faster. Where stories to dispel the rumor that Africans are not eloquent, educated, or have perspectives that are shallow and not as vigorous as the white man's are now slowly being hushed down. You saw Speed came to Kenya.
I know, and that was brilliant. And it's just sad for me that a lot of people are still believing the narrative that Africa is still a jungle and that they're wild people, It's just for me in an information age where you can access content, like for you literally flew to India to understand that there are different sides to India and you have that worldview. It saddens me that people outside Africa are lazy to think about it that way.
Ignorance is a choice now. But there was once a time when it wasn't.
Absolutely. And I get it. In the 90s
the
when
global propaganda machine has broken. Yes. On account of social media and all these other things.
Right.
So now I think, we're definitely in a spot where we can work collaboratively to dispel these rumors and using storytelling and platforms such as these. One day, maybe one African American at a time. One at a time.
Because for me, I just think also one of the things that inspired this podcast is because as a filmmaker, especially, trying to sell my work before the internet age, is we had to really rely on the old distribution systems.
Yes.
And in that distribution system, African content was underground, like 6 feet under. So negotiating all that and trying to have a content that is for a global audience, it was almost like, why are we even buying your content? Who wants to watch an African film?